She was not allowed to go out. She had to sit and patiently wait for Fuad the whole day. Maids brushed her long hair, put satin shoes on her feet, and dressed her in a new, elegant gown. Then they would leave the beauty alone the moment her master crossed the threshold of her chamber. Locked up, Nazli was expected to give birth. She had to. Only then could she gain her freedom. The governor of Cairo, Abdurrahim Sabri Pasha, had taken the most beautiful girl in the city as his wife. Their children turned out remarkably pretty, especially Nazli. She was born on June 25, 1894, and from the very start was surrounded by true luxury. One of the best lycées in Cairo, de la Mère de Dieu, accepted only children from the wealthiest families. Nazli was among the students and easily won the respect of her teachers. She was intelligent, diligent, and had no trouble with her studies. She spoke French and English as fluently as her native tongue. After the lycée, she was sent to finish her education in Alexandria, where she entered a French college. "You have a very beautiful daughter," people told the governor of Cairo. "Such a diamond deserves a worthy setting." This pleased and at the same time worried Sabri Pasha. Several noble families had already sent matchmakers to his home, but Nazli seemed so young, so unready for marriage. To stop the marriage talks, he decided to send her, along with her sister and elder relative, to Paris. There, Nazli was supposed to study for a while and return to Egypt as a true bride. Just before her departure, Nazli's mother died. Setting off for the distant French capital, the girl wept without end. But in the new place, there were so many vivid impressions. Her wounds healed quickly. 2 carefree years flew by like a single day, and then she was called back to Egypt. A suitable husband had been found for Nazli. It was not a joyful wedding. Her father had made sure that Nazli would marry a respectable and wealthy man, but she instantly realized they would not get along. A complete stranger, whom she had seen only a few times in her life, was to become her master. After lavish celebrations, both families worked to make the occasion memorable. The newlyweds failed to find harmony. For several more months, Nazli tried to reconcile herself to her new role, but then she fled back to her father's home. Any other girl would surely have been sent back, but Sabri Pasha was moved by his daughter's tears. He allowed her to stay, and the marriage was annulled. In Cairo, people whispered that her husband had never touched her, which preserved her reputation. Others claimed her father had spread such rumors on purpose, shifting the blame onto her former husband. She grew even more beautiful. Soon she was courted by Said Zaghloul, nephew of a prominent politician. An engagement was in the making, and this time Nazli was quite willing to marry. But politics interfered. In March 1919, an uprising broke out against the authorities. Said belonged to a party strongly opposed to the Egyptian Sultan. The revolt was suppressed, the groom fled the country, and Nazli remained disoriented and crushed. Life went on. She wanted to follow her beloved, but her family forbade it. A fugitive, disgraced, had no future. She was advised to forget Said as quickly as possible. One day, her aunt dressed her with great care for a trip to the opera. Only later did Nazli realize why. The Sultan Fuad had set his eyes on her. She was being prepared to be displayed in all her beauty. On May 8th, she sat in her box at the theater, and on May 12th, the Sultan visited her father's house and proposed. Nazli nearly fainted. This plump man, 25 years her senior, was far from her dreams, and she was expected to share his bed.
"You don't refuse such an offer," her relatives hissed.
She had to accept. Her father's and cousins' political careers were at stake. The wedding was set on May 24. Sultan Fuad celebrated his marriage to the beautiful Nazli at the Bustan Palace. He had previously been married to Princess Shavakyar, whom he called his greatest disappointment. That noblewoman had given him a daughter and a son, but the boy was unhealthy and soon died. Fuad divorced Shavakyar, and now he needed a wife and children, preferably sons. When Nazli was taken to the Abdin Palace, which was to be her main residence, the Sultan immediately declared,
"You will not leave here until you give birth."
She was forbidden to leave the palace grounds. She barely stepped beyond her own chambers. Nazli had to patiently wait for her husband, dress up for his visits, and conceive. Fuad himself lived in another palace, but regularly came to see his wife. Heaven took pity on her. Nazli soon became pregnant and in 1920 gave birth to a son named Farooq. From then on, she was allowed to attend the theater and exhibitions, receive guests, and visit friends and relatives. She did not love her husband, but nothing could be changed now. To flee from an aristocrat was not difficult. To flee from the Sultan, impossible. After her son came 4 daughters, Fauzia, Faiza, Faika, and Fatia. Sultan Fuad was displeased. He wanted more sons. One boy did not guarantee succession. Sultan Fuad himself had become sultan after his brother's death. But in 1930, after her last childbirth, Nazli learned she could bear no more children. Now he may divorce you, people warned her. Her family life was already difficult. Fuad had no tolerance for women's tears or complaints. He was notoriously harsh and quarrelsome. Servants whispered that he was rude to his wife, at times even cruel. Quarrels were stormy and always ended the same way, the Sultan slamming the door and leaving, his wife in tears. She sought solace elsewhere. Enormous sums of money at her disposal allowed for extravagant spending. Nazli's wardrobes filled with hundreds of luxurious dresses, her jewel boxes overflowed with treasures. But truly legendary was a platinum necklace with 227 carats of diamonds. Nazli had ordered it for herself and often wore it at receptions. In 1936, Fuad died. By law, the new ruler, now the title was king, was his only son, Farooq. Since the monarch was still young, a regency council was appointed, which included Nazli's brother, Sharif Sabri Pasha. "Now I am free," Nazli repeated. As queen mother, she enjoyed great respect, but over time the situation began to change. Courtiers watched in surprise as Nazli singled out her son's tutor, Ahmed Hassanain. He was younger, handsome, and soon looked down on others. The queen's love went to his head, and Farooq's advisors had to work hard to remove him from the palace. Her next relationship caused even greater outrage. Riyad Ghali grew so close to Nazli that she lost her head. Jewels began to vanish from her boxes, sold by the queen herself. In return, Riyad acquired luxury cars, designer suits, and diamond cufflinks. Worst of all, Riyad managed to charm not only Nazli, but her daughter. Against her family's will, despite King Farooq's direct ban, Fatia married Riyad on August 1, 1950. After that, both she and Nazli were stripped of all titles and rights in Egypt. The former queen moved to the United States. She was never allowed to see her son again. They met only once more, at his funeral in 1965. In truth, Farooq had not been an ideal ruler either. He too squandered enormous sums and promoted only his close associates to high positions. This bred discontent. The monarchy in Egypt was eventually abolished and Farooq left with his wife to Monaco and later Rome. Nazli herself ended her days in Los Angeles in 1978, in poverty and oblivion. Later, Rawia Rashad wrote a book about her, and in Egypt, a TV series was made about her life. Ah yes, the necklace. It was sold, changed hands several times, and was last valued at $4.3 million. It was bought back by the same jewelry house that had created it, Van Cleef & Arpels.